Right, hi guys, it's Carl from Monkey Mod. So in front of you is the CYMA 002, the SR16 models. Now, in this video, I'm going to tear this blaster down to the bone, to the gearbox, and we'll see how it looks like and see, what is the part that are nasty, proprietary, So let's get started. But before that, I noticed one very big problem with the blaster, or at least on a CYMA platform. The grip is actually two screws secured, which means one on the bottom left or right and one on the upper left or right. Two screws only. So it's not as sturdy as those that has actually four screws. For example, the Gen 9s, the LDTs. If you have an FB3, you will know what I'm saying. So immediately I discovered this problem. Yep, very disgusting. So we're gonna see if we can fix that. Right, so let's get started. We'll start from taking apart the handguards. Now, taking apart the handguard is really easy. It's just one Allen screw here, but make sure you have the correct size or you might actually strip it. They don't use the highest of quality of the screws here, so be careful with that. So the handguard, as I mentioned, is not the sturdiest handguard on a blaster before, because the handguard is only held on with only one of these key mod style lock. So put this aside, and then you can pretty much slide the entire handguard off. Now this is the handguard. As far as the nylon handguard goes, it's alright by itself. Now I just have a problem with how it is attached to the the barrel nut here, because it is quite sort of proprietary. So how it locks is through this key mod slot here. It actually locks. Oops, sorry about that. Right, it actually locks to the outer barrel adapter, not to the barrel nut itself. Very funny design. Not my favorite type of a design, but suppose it works, I guess. Right, so with the handguard handguard removed, you have the outer barrel exposed here. It's a very long barrel. It's made of metal. Has a bit of a designs here and there, but the biggest problem I have with this is how it's installed to the outer barrel. It's not threaded on. It's more like friction fitted. We only two Allen key friction fitting it, one up here and one down here. So they are a bit of a lateral place, which is kind of nasty in my opinion. I can't stand that. I'm going to try and fix that with some Teflon tape. Not sure if it works, but we'll see. So anyhow, with that exposed, you have the a dummy gas block made of nylon, and then a gas rod, and of course the nut itself. I'm going to remove the muzzle first. Now, bear in mind, this muzzle is the one that I myself put it on. This is a metal A2 bird cage. So the stock one is the bright orange, which can easily be removed. Now, as mentioned, it does comes with a 14mm CCW threads here. So you can pretty much put any sort of a hop up here and the muzzle here. So with that, with the muzzle off, we can now remove the gas block. Right, so with the gas block removed, we can tell that there is two screw ports here where the gas block screw is installed to, so you can't really get this wrong. Right, so this is the barrel itself. Let me just, yep. Right, so I should actually take off the entire upper, shouldn't I? Right, let's just do that. Right, so this is the upper itself. Now the inner barrel, aluminum inner barrel. Oh, I see. It's not even glued into the T-piece, which is a good thing. You can upgrade the inner barrel to whatever one that you like. So this is the T-piece. Alright, I'm back with the FB T-piece. So as you can tell, if you compare it directly, fin to fin. You can tell the FBT piece is obviously longer than the one on the CYMA. Now this is the reason why, even though the rest of the Mac can actually works, as in the Mac Prime works, but it doesn't fit, is because this T-piece is not long enough for the gel to be fed properly into the T-piece. This is an LDT Mac, so ideally it should go on like this. But on the CYMA, it probably, just gonna be here. And then I'm going to guess that the gearbox probably can't reach this switch as well. I mean, this spring loaded switch here. So it doesn't allow the gel to, fit into the blaster properly, right? So that's one of the problem with the CYMA T-piece here, right? Right, back to the receiver itself. Now, pretty interesting design in there. The dummy bolt is held on by a transparent plastic piece here to keep it in track, and then it has a assisting return spring here, just to make sure that the bolt will always return back to its positions. Right, I'm not sure if you can tell from the camera. If you can tell, this part is actually part of the dummy bolt, and this piece here activates the Mac Prime switch. Right. Let me just get this out. If you have one of these, you can actually use it. See the 4 slots on the barrel nut there? It's for you to do this. It's not really tightened properly out of the factory, so you can probably undo that with just your bare hands. Right, so that's out, and that's the outer barrel assembly. It's metal. Now it's more apparent. Now you see, it is totally wobbling, so it's bad news. Now, if you have pay attention, how the handguard installed is to this hole. So if you upgrade the outer barrel with another one, you probably can't use the stock handguard that comes with the blaster, so be mindful. But we'll see how we can fix this. I'm hoping some Teflon tape can do the job. So let me just loosen this, and done. This is how it's installed. Friction fitted. It is D-shaped, so you can't really get it wrong. So there's only one way that you can install this. You can't do it the other way around, or any other directions, because it is D-shaped. So only this. Yep. Now, one thing I really like on the CYMA upper receiver is, it's not actually solid here and there, but I suppose it'll be alright. Because notice these slots up here. This is actually an anti-rotational tabs, where you install the tabs over here, like so. Like so. So when your handguard is attached here, it prevents the handguard from being rotated accidentally. So that's pretty sweet in my opinion, because some of the handguards nowadays don't come with this sort of a feature, so I appreciate it. Right, so this is the upper receiver itself. Now it's not very thick or sturdy, but it's alright, I suppose. If you actually squeeze it, I mean, obviously you can flex it. Right, so this is the upper. Of course, I'm not going to remove the charging handle and the dust cover. That's just unnecessary. But yep, the charging handle is the standard type. So if you want to if you want to upgrade the charging handle, say with a metal type charging handle, you can do so. Right, so that's done. That's the upper receiver, and the outer barrel and the handguard completely off. Right. Now we move on to the lower part of the blaster. Alright, this is the lower part of the blaster. So with the upper off, obviously you can tell the gearbox is now exposed. Alright, we're going to take this down. So let's just remove the butt stock first. Let's find out how the quick detach mainspring system works. Right, that's the screw, pretty long. Now, let's see. Wow, that's a really long, the part where the buffer tube installed onto. Oh, that's interesting. So, okay, the buffer tube is really heavy. It's really heavy, I don't know why, but it's really heavy. That is interesting. This castle nut here, it is actually dummy and it is actually part of the buffer tube. Now that's funny. So the CYMA blaster, M4 blaster, has a proprietary buffer tube. Alright, it's interesting. That's because the quick mainspring system they have here. So once the buffer tube is off, but remember, this is not proprietary, you can't simply swap it off. So that includes the tightening plates here and possibly the screw as well. It's very long, really long. So with the buffer tube removed, you can get access to the sling mount plate. And then of course, I'm pretty sure that, let me just pour some light here. Okay. Now, with some light, you probably can tell like there is a huge spring stopper in there. Let's try and remove it and see how it looks like. Right. So you sort of have to turn the spring guide with a with a flat head screwdriver. At the correct positions, it will just pop right off like so. So this is how you can quick change the mainspring on the CYMA blaster. Now, very interesting, convenient, but it also makes a bit of inconvenience because of the proprietary parts. Now you can't simply upgrade. So, right, let's see. Since we have spring out, let's measure. I'm going to guess this is a 1.2 spring. Right, I have my vernier caliper here. Let's see. .16, so it is, I guess it's 1.15. Very funny, this sort of measurement. 1.17, 1.15. Alright, very interesting. It is not 1.2, it's not 1.1, but 1.15. Okay, that's alright, I suppose. So this is the spring guide. Let's see. Yep, it is metal. Yep, it is metal. So I suppose you don't have to upgrade this, but it is proprietary, so you don't really have much choice here, do we? Alright, with the mainspring and buffer tube off, now we can, take off the grip and we can see what sort of a motor is installed and see if we can fix the nasty grip problem here. Ew. Sorry. This little piece here is a dummy bolt. It just slide on there. So careful not to lose this piece when you disassemble your blaster. So 2 screw and the motor grip cover should pop right off. Now this piece, it is plastic, so be careful. Right, so you should find a small piece of a metal plate here, round shape, like a coin, within the motor cap. This is actually a spacer or shims if you like, so that it can adjust the motor height here. Right, so careful not to lose this as well. Now interesting, they have both wire on the rear side of the grip. Usually is one rear, one at the front. So Right, that's the motor. Oops. So we have a spring. God damn it. Right, so this is the motor. It's a 460 type motor with the orange color, what's it called? I don't know, shaft. And then a very interesting blue color pinion gear. Right, so let's just set this aside. Yep, so as expected, let's see. Yeah, sorry I can't get the light to shine in, but barely. You can see there's only 2 screws in there, securing the grip to the gearbox. Let's take this apart. I see why my unit has a very nasty gap, because it's not even properly tightened. Alright, that's the grip remove. So 2 screws here. Bad news. It appears that one of my screw has stripped the gearbox thread. So I probably can't install the grip securely. So okay, that's really bad news. It's a sad news for it. But I see the other 2 holes here, screw ports here. I may be able to use this. But one very bad negative things about this is all the screw ports here, it doesn't have the brass piece, the screw ports where they have brass embedded into the gearbox. So you can't easily strip the screw ports here. So on the CYMA gearbox, you don't have that. So you have to be really mindful when you tighten the grip into the gearbox, or otherwise, yep, you will just have a strip screw port to the grip. So let's see. Oops. Yeah, it still works. It's not terribly stripped, I guess. I hope I still able to install the grip securely. And then while I'm on it, I also try to to find another 2 similar screw to lock the grip in place securely with all the other screw ports here. Right, with the grip off, all we need to do now is just take off the magazine catch and then the pin, and we should be able to get it off. Right, the magazine now is off. So we get rid of this pin and this pin. I will be using a pin punch and a mallet to punch this pin out. Right, this is the pin. Remember, as usual, this is a one-way pin where you have a friction side of the pin over here. So be careful not to punch it out the wrong way. And now we should be able to get the gearbox out of the receiver. So let's just put the fire mode into the semi, so the fire selector plate doesn't obstruct it. Right. And that's pretty much it. That's the lower receiver. Let's put this aside. Right, so we have the gearbox here now. So first thing I noticed is this little switch here. So this is the preload switch. This is where the dummy bolt, the dummy bolt leg hits and activate the mic prime. Let's see, it's in a very flashy orange color shell. It's pretty good. They actually do the reinforcement. Not really. Is it called reinforcement? I'm not sure. But basically, you see the little ball here, the holes here in front here and here. This is to prevent the shell from cracking at this side. So that's pretty nice. They actually do that out of the factories. So we have blue color fire selector plate. Very interesting design. from here I can tell that it has a metal cut-off lever. All the bearing, or rather they are bushes, not bearing. So yeah, it's very nasty here. Let me just... Right, let's see. The gearbox looks pretty sturdy, but however, a very big minus point, all the screw ports here are not brass, brass piece, doesn't have a brass piece that acts as a more reliable screw port that won't strip easily. So you have to be extra careful when you work with the CYMA gearbox, just like the old Gen 9 days. So you can easily strip any of this port if you over tighten it. Right, so that's pretty much it on the external of the gearbox. But overall, I think it's a very good design, other than the screw port again. You see this part here is actually a bell shape. This is so that wait, this is not the pin where it goes in, is it? Nope, it's not. Oh, this is actually the, what you call, the ambidextrous fire selector. I don't know what it's called, hole, whatever. But basically, this is where you enable the use of ambidextrous fire selectors. So it has some gears here. Alright, so that's pretty interesting. So maybe in the future, CYMA may come up with the M4 blaster with the the ambidextrous fire selector features. Right, so that's pretty much it. Right, I can tell that the cylinder here is a black aluminium. I'm not sure, probably not brass, since it's in black, right? So I will be opening up the blaster and show you the inside. So let me just get my tools. Alright, let's get started. Right, before you open the shell, you should probably take off this little screw here, just to cut the preload switch here loose, so that it won't get damaged when you try to open it. Right, so now that's loose. Right, let's open it up. Alright, so we have the gearbox now open. Let's take a closer look. So very interesting. The parts in there is in blue color. It is shimmed. I see them shimmed there. I'm not sure how well they are shimmed, but yes, they are shimmed. Right, so all the gears are, I'm going to guess these are nylons, so in a very funny blue nylon colors. Let's see. Oh, right. Right, let's start from this side first. So from here, they use some very nasty blue color grease. The bearing is it has a cross type design on it. It's actually to let the lubricants, do its job when the gear is spinning. So let's see if I actually wipe this off and see how it looks like. Right, the loops is really sticky. Right, so this is how it looks like, the bearings, or the bushes, rather. Right, I'm going to take off all the parts here and see, how they are like. The bevel gears. Looks pretty alright. It's very clean, very well molded, manufactured. This is the anti-reversal. Now, the shape of the anti-reversal is a bit different from what you would usually have. The shape is a bit unique. Yep. Right, this is a sector gear. Now, it does look a little bit different from what we would have on a generic type of gears. The little knob here that pushes or pull the taper plate looks a bit different. Of course, the last gear is a bit wider so that it can withstand the spring pressure when the piston is fully compressed. You have a sector gear that looks rather common, but again, it's not really the same as the one that we commonly see. So it would be interesting to find out whether the CYMA, the gearbox, can actually works with the the type plate and stuff with the typical gears that we have. Right, so this is the cylinder assembly. So let's start with the taper plate. The taper plate looks different. It's it's very sharp. I mean angular. Definitely looks different from the one that we see on the FB, on the LDT or the Gen 9s. So it might be proprietary. The nozzle looks very familiar actually. I think it is the same as the FB3 or the LDT. So it'll be interesting to find out whether we can actually upgrade the nozzle with the FB3 or the LDT nozzle head. Now the cylinder itself, the piston is in blue color. Let's see how many teeth it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's a typical 14 teeth piston and a very typical nylon piston head. Let's check the air seal. Wow, that's really loose. It's quite bad. It's quite bad. Like there's barely any seal in there. But okay, that can be easily solved. Upgrading the cylinder head or even just the O-ring itself will do. I suppose this explains why the inconsistency and the rather low FPS out of box. So yeah, probably something that we can fix. Yep. Also, I'm going to find out whether the aftermarket parts that we usually use can be used with the CYMA. Right, this is the cylinder head. Looks very normal. The FB or the FDT one probably can fit. And what is left on the shell now is, just the trigger switch, the trolleys, and the safety lever, and then the cut-off lever here. That's made of metal. Alright, so we have stripped the CYMA gearbox or blaster down to the bone. Now I'm going to find out what sort of part that can fit and see whether they work. Alright guys, I did some modifications. I found out what's the problem, why the air seal was bad, because the stock cylinder head was total crap. There's like zero seal, so I had to swap it out. Now the good news is that it is compatible. Now this cylinder head and the nozzle is a FB3 or LDT type. So if you have this, it should work perfectly. Now I also swap out the stock nylon piston head because it messes up with the angle of engagement. And after I upgrade to the metal cylinder head here, it comes as a set. I believe this will be available at Monkey Mod soon. They are the new product, updated product of the Titan. They should be coming out soon. And so after I upgrade it, the seal is now perfect. Right, and then this is an anti-vacuum type piston head. So there's no vacuum there. So actually this is the only mod that I will do on the on this CYMA gearbox, because I just want to test whether the air seal problem will solve the inconsistent or low FPS issues. So with this done, I also corrected the angle of engagement. The angle of engagement out of box is quite bad, so I wouldn't recommend running it as hard as you should. So with the the cylinder head and the piston head installed, I also corrected the angle of engagement. So now I also had to cut the second teeth off the piston. So now the angle of engagement has been corrected at here. I'll be frank, this is not perfect. It's still a bit of a, of a distance before it can reach the perfect angle, which is around here. But this will do, because I'll be running this with the stock spring, and I'm going to see how long it will last before the stock, these blue nylon gears here goes wrong. So I'm very interested to find that out. Anyhow, the angle of engagement has been corrected, 95%, I suppose. So now I'm going to put everything back together. By the way, the gearbox will take most of the standard parts, like the gears, but you most likely have to upgrade the, not upgrade, just to swap out the taper plate into the standard one, say the FB3 or the LDT3. This taper plate should work well. So be mindful, if you are going to upgrade the gear that has a typical sector gear, and it might not work well with the taper plate that comes with the the gearbox that works well with the nylon gear that it comes with, because the timing may be different, so you have to be mindful when you upgrade. But other than that, everything should fit. The piston, it will take most of the piston available, the cylinder head and the nozzle. It will take the FB3 or the LDT3 type. So the JM9 will not fit, the Kublai one will not fit as well, so be mindful. And the rest should work like any other typical blaster. And I'm going to find out whether I can fit 480 motors into it as well, but maybe next time, because I'm going to stick with this motor that the pinion gear already installed here. I'm not going to rip it off. Right, so I'm going to put everything back together, and then we're going to test the blaster again. Right, see you in a bit. Alright guys, I'm back here. So I just put everything back together. So basically the things that I swapped out were the cylinder head and the piston. The cylinder head and the nozzle, and then the piston head, the trigger, the stock grips, and then of course the buffer tube itself. Right, so just all this is just to test the compatibilities. So apparently it will take the standard version 2 trigger. This is a Kublai blade type trigger. It fits and works just nice. And then this is a Ergo 480 motor grip, and it also fits just nice, and it actually houses the original 460 motor just right as well. It's no problem there. What else? Right, and the buffer tube. Now it is on a wall interest or the LTT standard M4 buffer tube. This is so that I can I did some modifications, so that it takes the regular buffer tube, and also now it will house the regular LiPo battery inside within the buffer tube now. So that's pretty much it. I didn't do much of a modification. Oh yeah, and of course I replaced the stock spring with a Titan 1.2. And that's pretty much it. This is now on a different muzzle, because I have a riser 13mm type hop-up installed within, and it houses nicely within the muzzles. Right, and regarding the wobble, the outer barrel, so a few wraps on the outer barrel and installed to the adapter, and it fixed the problem out. Just use any type of a regular Teflon tape, it will work. And tighten everything, put everything back up, and it works just nice. Right, so let me just show you. So this is now a regular buffer tube. So this is a 3S Boss LiPo tactical battery. Now this will fit right in, no problem there. Right, so if that is the issue that, oh yeah, even after this mod, you will still be able to use the mainspring quick detach feature, where you can just remove the buffer tube and you can get the spring right out. So yeah, it's quite nice. right? The battery will fit right in and even house the cable. Not all the way in, but just nice that it won't obstruct the buffer tube from functioning. Right, you'll be able to fold to retract the buffer tube all the way in, even with the battery within. Right, so with the mods in, let's give it a few test shots without the gels. So that is the 3S battery and pretty much everything inside stock, and just the mentioned stuff that I've replaced. So let's put some gel in and see how it sounds like. Right, let's just give it a few shots and see how it sounds like now. Right, works pretty well, fits pretty well, no feeding issues. Right, let's put it up to the chrono and see what number we can get after all that mod. Semi 11.1 volt battery. Right, the number is still not that ideal. 242, 243, 257, 246, 249, 244, 257, 245. I suppose some more work needed to be done to make the FPS more consistent. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the inner barrel. Well, right. Let's just give it a full auto and see how it's like. Right, on full auto, the number is a bit higher. Let me read to you. 256, 259, 248, 261, 259, 248, 255, 261. So it averaged out at about 255 FPS with the mods done. Still not a number that I like, but well, that's all I could do for it without changing too much of the internal. So I'm just going to use it and see how it's like, during the game performance and stuff. But yep, the FPS is around 255 and the rate of fire is about 18 rounds per second, 18 RPS. Right. So it appears that the CYMA gearbox will pretty much take all of the, most if not all of the version 2 standard parts within. The springs, the cylinder head, nozzle, the taper plate, and gears. You probably take all of them without any problems. Just be noted that if you change the sector gears or into any metal gears, you most likely need to upgrade the taper plate into the regular type, like the LDT or the FB3. Right, so this concludes my disassembly and assembly. I didn't really assemble in front of you guys, but you just need to watch things in reverse if you need any guide on installing back anything. Just put things back together the reverse way. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. If you got any questions, just leave them in the comment sections. I'll get back to you as soon as possible, and I'll see you guys again. Thank you for watching.